Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Well, today I've got a bunch of Dogman encounters to share with you from different parts of the United States. A lot of you have been talking about where the most sightings occur and this and that. Well, this is a huge proximity of Dogman encounters ranging from Kansas to Pennsylvania to Maryland to almost anywhere in the United States. So before we get into these encounters, a couple links I'd like to share. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. Those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fan fiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link below and give them a listen. You may just like what you hear. And last but not least, I just started a GoFundMe page to help raise some money for urban exploration, cryptid hunting, and ghost hunting equipment. If that's anything that you're willing to help with, that link is in the description below as well. And I've taken enough of your time. Let's get on with these Dogman throughout the United States encounters. Shall we? Today's first Dogman encounter brings us to Washington County, Pennsylvania, November of 1987. I was hunting during doe season in the woods. I parked my truck on the side of the road in Washington County, but it was right on the border near Greene. Anyway, I was in a tree stand looking for deer and heard a lot of rustling of leaves near me. I then see this wolf-like thing running on its hind legs. It stopped for a moment, sniffed the air, and ran off. I sat in that tree stand for hours till the sun was high in the sky. Then I cautiously returned to my truck. I gave up hunting after this experience. Our second Dogman encounter brings us to Hagerstown, Maryland, 2017. Not sure what it is. My girlfriend and I were hiking around western Maryland, and I started getting an eerie feeling. And I seen something fowling, stalking us, but it wasn't as big as what I've heard these Dogman to be. Also, there's a little equipment yard where I sometimes work on vehicles, and behind the yard is a cornfield, and it had been cut down, and in the middle of this field is an island of trees. While I was working one afternoon, I heard what sounded like 50 wolves howling at once. I turned around and seen something crouching down very low to the ground, coming out of the island of trees. Looked a lot like the thing that had been following me and my girlfriend that time, and it was at least 20 miles away. Also, there's an area nearby where my father told me that he and his friends would see this Wolfman thing running next to their vehicle in the 60s, and supposedly had killed a lot of livestock in that area. I came across an article of something called the Snarly Yow. It was the same mountain my father has all these werewolf stories about. Our third Dogman encounter brings us to Fort Wayne, Indiana, June of 2017. On a Wednesday night around 11:30 p.m., my son's friend called him and said that something was knocking on his window and walking on his porch. He said he heard howls and screams earlier that night. We had seen him around 7:30 that night, but before it got dark, he headed home to get there around 7:45. This started happening between 7:45 and 11:30. The friend calls back and said that it was pushing on his window and still knocking. He kept losing signal. he was using FaceTime on his phone. I talked to him and had him turn his bedroom light off, so he did. We did hear the knocking a couple times while we were on the phone with him, and my daughter and son also heard howls while on the phone. He said his dog was hiding in the corner, and when he left the bedroom, the dog followed him with his tail tucked between his legs. All of a sudden, he says it's back. I hear it walking on the porch again. I kept telling him to wake his dad up, but he was afraid to. I told him to make sure all the lights were off and his phone didn't give off a glow and slowly peek out his blinds. He did and told me there was a big, black-haired shadow thing on the porch. It looks to be about 10 feet tall, he said, and wasn't looking out again after that. I told him to calm down and keep the lights off and try to get some sleep. Our fourth encounter of today brings us to Osage, Kansas, the summer of 2016. I was driving home from doing some shopping in a nearby town and was all alone, just driving and listening to the radio. It was just before sunset on a beautiful summer day, and I was admiring the sky because it was such a bright orange. While driving through some S-curves on the road, I made the first turn and saw some deer dart across the road. Immediately, I hit my brakes to slow down, not knowing if there were more to come out of the woods. On the opposite side of the road, it drops down a steep embankment to a farm field. I had slowed the car down and scanned the tree line for more deer. That's when this thing jumped out of the woods running after the deer. It landed in the middle of the road and cleared the rest of the road his next stride. It's so hard to comprehend what I saw. It sounds like the descriptions that people have claimed. It was a gray figure with a short, sleek, gray coat. I didn't see a tail on this creature. It was on all fours and was the same height as the deer. His head was very odd. It looked like a dog head with cropped pointed ears, but a very short muzzle. He briefly turned his head towards me when he crossed, and his eyes, I wouldn't say they glowed, but they weren't normal animal eyes. They were like a dull yellow, and they definitely stood out. His body is what really confused me because the way it moved was like a human would move when trying to run on all fours. Its gait looked lazy, like he was kind of looping across the road. It was very muscular on the front end, but had a very thin, almost sickly-looking abdominal area, hind legs as well. Once he crossed the road, I lost sight of him over the embankment. I was so confused to what I saw, I didn't tell anyone right away for fear that people would think I was crazy. I have been searching for answers since and came up with nothing. I eventually told my husband and one close friend, but neither of them had heard anything matching my descriptions. I'm still not sure if what I saw was a Dogman, but the only thing I've came across that sounds reasonably to what I saw. And our fifth Dogman encounter throughout the United States brings us back to Pennsylvania. Newcastle, Pennsylvania, date unknown. A woman and her daughter were out walking their dog in an evening by a cemetery before dark, right before a thunderstorm. The daughter got bored and decided to go back to the vehicle and wait for her mom to finish the walk. While she was in her car, she saw this bipedal werewolf with a snout that was huge. This thing was about 5 feet tall and very muscular, had grayish fur and dark eyes. The creature came out of the bushes and then walked around the vehicle once and went back into the bushes. It made eye contact with the daughter, who was frozen in terror. When the mother returned to the car, the daughter was in hysterical fear. The mom believes the daughter and doesn't think she was lying. They seem to think it was possible and The approaching thunder and electric storm was used as an energy source by the creature to manifest in this world or dimension. This cemetery is on the outskirts of town in a rural area, lots of woods, creeks, and good habitat. The daughter was empathetic that the creature was not Bigfoot. It had a werewolf-like snout. This area of Pennsylvania has had a lot of weird phenomena. 5. Scattered Dogman encounters across America. Started off in Pennsylvania and ended in Pennsylvania. Anyway, the last one mentioned interdimensional travel. I think we discussed that earlier this week. And if you're not seeing a pattern, all of these stories are starting to fit together. I mean, there's just so much surrounding these creatures. A lot of people don't think they're spiritual or paranormal, that they're just some beast that lived in the woods for eons. That could be true. It could be true that they are some sort of paranormal entity that is a interdimensional traveler. Who knows? All I know is these things are a cryptid that has not been studied and has been seen multiple times. And the questions are still surrounding it. What is it? Where does it come from? Is it an interdimensional traveler? Was it conjured up by Nazi occultists? Was it this? Was it that? Who knows? All I know is these encounters are amazing. I just get blown away every time I read a new one. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed these. I'm working on some more. I'm actually working on a great big subscriber Dogman encounter. I'm compiling all of the subscriber encounters that I've gotten lately, and I'm going to do them in a rather large subscriber upload. I'm trying to get about an hour's worth of encounters. So if you guys have any encounters that you'd like to share with me, any that happened to you, a friend, a relative, please submit it to me. My email is in the description below. And if you can't find it, just comment and ask me for my email. With that, guys, I bid you farewell and have a happy Easter, because I'm probably not going to upload for the rest of the weekend.